What is up, YouTube? How are we doing? Welcome back to the With a Grain of Salt podcast. Today, I've got some real interesting stuff for you to kind of keep up with the times and to kind of cover stuff that's already out. There is a current documentary covering this person that has gotten great reviews. So I feel like that is definitely going to be a bonus here. But real quick before we begin, I would just like to quickly thank everyone that has shown support towards the channel. Because let me tell you, we are fucking blown out of the water by what's going on. We're at like, what, 241 subs now? That is...
41 subs, yes.
We're already almost at damn near halfway to 300.
Keep it up. Keep
Keep,
liking.
keep
Keep
it up.
following. We truly appreciate it.
And don't forget to check out the Discord down below in the description so you can get live updates of when videos are coming out, when streams are coming out. And I usually like to talk about what the next 5 episodes are going to be over there. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'd like to welcome Ed Gein to the stage. Woo!
What's good, Ed Gein?
Okay, don't actually clap for him.
Yeah, no, he was not a good guy.
Not a good guy. Alrighty. Plainfield, Wisconsin, November 16th, 1957. A town so small people didn't even lock their doors. That changed overnight when police entered the farmhouse of a quiet handyman named Edward Theodore Gein. Inside, they found something that would shock not just the state, but the entire country. A house of horrors so grotesque it inspired Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs. This is the true story of Ed Gein, the man who blurred the line between insanity and evil, and that's in the small town that uncovered one of the most disturbing crimes in American history. Ed Gein was born on August 27th, 1906, in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. His father, George Gein, was an alcoholic who struggled to keep work. His mother, Augusta, had a fanatically religious woman who the world was believed the world was full of sin. Holy cow, especially women. She constantly preached that women aside from herself were the devil's work. When Ed was still a child, the family moved to a 155-acre farm outside the small town of Plainfield. There, Augusta isolated the family from outsiders. Ed and his older brother Henry grew up with no friends, little social contact, and daily sermons about mortality and punishment. Neighbors later called Ed as shy, polite, and even helpful, but strange. He would he would giggle at odd moments and seem detached from reality after George died in 1940, and Henry later perished in the suspicious fire of 1944. Ed was left alone with his mother, the only person who had truly cared for. When Augusta died of a stroke in 1945, Ed was completely alone. He boarded up her bedroom and the sitting room, preserving them exactly as she left them, and began living in the rest of the farmhouse, which quickly decayed into filth.
After his mother's death, Ed became the town oddball. He worked odd jobs, babysat for neighbors' kids, and was known as trustworthy, but he read pulp magazines about Nazis, cannibals, and corpses. Police would later find dozens of them stacked around his home. But behind closed doors, Ed's fascination turned into obsession. He began visiting the local graveyard late at night, not to mourn, but to dig. He confessed later to making 40 visits to cemeteries between 1947 and 1952, often in a dazed like state. Sometimes he said he would dig up freshly buried women, who reminded him of his mother. He brought their he brought parts of their bodies home, skulls, bones, skin, using them to create what he called his woman suit. He admitted to making masks, corsets, and garments stitched from human skin, claiming he wanted to become his mother. That's fucked.
That's wild. I mean, like, I don't even see how you'd become your mother like that.
Yeah, like
So he's trying
the
to
amount of
make
like attachment.
so he's trying to make a woman suit. So are we talking like Five Nights at Freddy's kind of woman suit? Like this man was a man trying to recreate his mother's uh I guess you could say likeness for I want to say for him. Like is this man gonna wear his mother or like a version of his mother?
Yeah, like is the whole point to like try and feel like he's gonna get loved by his mother again.
Yeah.
For years, Plainfield had no idea what was happening in the Gein farmhouse. That changed on November 16th, 1957. Bernice Warden, the 58-year-old hardware store owner, vanished. Her son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Warden, discovered blood on the store floor and a receipt written for antifreeze, sold to Ed Gein that very morning. When police arrived at Gein's property that evening, they entered the cold, cluttered farmhouse. Inside a shed behind the house, they found Bernice Warden's body, decapitated, hung upside down like a deer, with her torso cut open. Officers said the scene was beyond comprehension. Inside the home, investigators made more horrifying discoveries. Human skulls used as bowls, a belt made of nipples,
Yes.
a chair upholstered with human skin, and faces peeled from skulls tanned and mounted like masks. These weren't rumors of tabloid stories. These were photographed, logged, and verified by Wisconsin State Crime Lab. Officers had stumbled into a real life nightmare.
Fun fact, a lot of those items are now up for auction, so people gladly keep real human body parts and skin in their house, thinking it's some kind of trophy of their wealth,
I
which...
saw a TikTok, and this lady was talking. Sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No, you're good.
It implies into this, and she fucking was talking about how she saw this lamp at Goodwill, and the lampshade part looked like it was made from skin, and it had like a marking on it that looked like a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I believe where she found it was like by Plainsfield, like a Goodwill by Plainsfield or in Plainsfield.
Ed Gein was quickly arrested and brought in for questioning. At first, he denied everything, but over time he began to talk. He admitted to killing Bernice Warden, saying he shot her accidentally while trying to load his rifle. He also confessed to the murder of Mary Hogan, a tavern owner who had disappeared 3 years earlier. Her head was later found inside Gein's house. During interrogation, Gein seemed detached, describing grave robbing a murderer in the same tone one might describe fixing a fence. Officers said he laughed and giggled when recounting how he exhumed bodies, even demonstrating with his hands how he opened graves. Quoted, he told us he made a mask from a woman's face, said he put it on a wall, put it on, and walked around his house talking to himself, pretending to be his mother. End of quote. Forensic teams reopened several graves Gein had mentioned and found missing parts, confirming his confessions were real. Though he claimed many of his acts were from grave robbing, the physical evidence tied him directly to both Warden and Hogan's deaths.
He was really so disconnected from reality that he was just like, oh, this seems logical. Women are crazy. I can do whatever I want. I'm just gonna take her face and act like my mom.
Yeah, and then again,
That's fine.
it kind of leads on to the parenting though, because the way that he saw every woman was they were monsters, the devil, you know. So the way he's seeing it, he's not doing anything wrong for the most part.
Like it's yeah, he's just so disconnected from reality because of his parent or his mom.
Yeah. By late 1957, Ed was charged with first-degree murder, but the real question wasn't whether he did it, it was whether he was sane enough to stand trial. Psychiatrists described Gein as schizophrenic and severely mentally ill. He was obsessed with his dead mother and believed he could resurrect her by creating a bodysuit made of human skin. In January 1958, a judge ruled him mentally incompetent and committed him to the Central State Hospital for criminally insane. He spent over a decade there before being deemed fit to stand trial. In 1968, his trial finally began. It was held without a jury, only a judge. Gein pleaded not guilty but reason of insanity. After reviewing psychiatric evaluations and the overwhelming evidence, the judge found him guilty of the murder of Bernice Worden, but legally insane at the time of the crime. Gein was sentenced to life in Mendota Mental Health Institute, where he would remain until his death in 1984.
The farmhouse was eventually burned down, whether by accident or arson remains a mystery. Some locals said it was better that way. Gein's old car, which he used to haul corpses, was later sold to a carnival sideshow that charged people 25 cents to look at it. Even decades later, the Gein story continues to haunt American culture. His crimes inspired Norman Bates in Psycho, LeatherFace in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. But beyond the horror movie influence, Gein's case forced society to rethink mental illness, isolation, and how small town life can hide unimaginable darkness. In quote, he was the most polite, mild mannered patient I ever treated. If you didn't know his past, you'd have never guessed. End quote. It's a chilling reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it smiles and helps you with your chores. Ed Gein wasn't a criminal mastermind or a serial killer with grand motives. He was a broken man molded by isolation, trauma, and mental illness. His actions shattered the innocence of small town America and changed how we think about insanity, crime, and the human mind. From his mother's suffocating control to his horrifying creations, the Ed Gein story remains one of the darkest chapters in true crime history. Not because of the number of victims, but because of the sheer horror of what he did to them after death. Maybe it's why his story this oh my god. Maybe that's why his story endures. It's not about blood or gore, it's about obsession, grief, and what happens to the human mind when the human mind finally breaks. Thank you for watching. Uh if you want more, please comment what things you'd like us to see, like to go over, whether it be some sort of more like Am I the Assholes, more spooky horror stuff, cryptid, whatever. Put it in the comments. Please check the description for the Discord and the Twitch. Please drop a like and subscribe. And it's your turn, Aiden.
And remember, chat, to take it all with a grain of salt. Thank you all, and we'll wrap it up right there.
Wrap it
Peace
up.
up.
Peace.